Thanks for joining us on episode 1081 of the Inspired Stewardship Podcast.
I am Donna Renee Patrick. I challenge you to invest in yourself, invest in others, develop your influence, and impact the world by using your time, your talent, and your treasures to live out your calling. Having the ability to use your temple and thoughts is vital to live out your purpose. And one way to be inspired to do that is listen to this, the Inspired Stewardship Podcast with my friend Scott Mater. Serve people. I think a lot of times we think that our purpose is just for us, but that's not true at all. Our purpose is always to serve others. Whatever your purpose might be, whatever that area is, it's not just for you. So have a mind to serve others as you walk out your purpose. It's not about us. It's not about us.
Welcome and thank you for joining us on the Inspired Stewardship Podcast. If you truly desire to become the person who God wants you to be, then you must learn to use your time, your talent, and your treasures for your true calling. In the Inspired Stewardship Podcast, you will learn to invest in yourself, invest in others, and develop your influence so that you can impact the world.
In today's interview with Donna Renee Patrick, I asked Donna about what to do if you aren't sure of your purpose. I also asked Donna about specifically the purpose she finds working with single Christian women. And Donna also shares some of her top tips about mentoring and serving others.
One reason I like to bring you great interviews like the one you're going to hear today is because of the power in learning from others. Another great way to learn from others is through reading books. But if you're like most people today, you find it hard to find the time to sit down and read. And that's why today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Go to inspiredstewardship.com/audible to sign up, and you can get a 30-day free trial. There's over 180,000 titles to choose from, and instead of reading, you can listen your way to learn from some of the greatest minds out there. That's inspiredstewardship.com/audible to get your free trial and listen to great books the same way you're listening to this podcast.
Donna Renee Patrick is serious about walking in her unique purpose and helping others walk in theirs. She is an award-winning author of 2 devotionals, At All Times and It's in Your Praise. She also co-authored 3 volumes entitled The Perfect 7, Stories of Roaring Faith Volume 4, and Be Refreshed. She has been a musician and a choir director most of her life and serves as a powerful worship leader. She is a regular presenter at the Bay Area Church Workers Convention, has had a commentary published with the African American Lectionary, and serves on the faculty of the National Convention of Gospel Choirs and Choruses. Donna also serves on the executive board of the Northeastern District Baptist Association as the award-winning radio host of The Donna Patrick Show, where we talk about all things praise and worship. She coaches and trains music ministry personnel and church leaders on how to give God the kind of worship He wants, rather than just what we choose to give Him. Donna earned a Bachelor of Science degree from Bishop College in Dallas, Texas, as well as a Master of Arts in Christian Education from Dallas Baptist University. Welcome to the show, Donna.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate you having me tonight. I'm happy to be here.
So last week we talked a lot about your journey, and if you had a chance to sit down with somebody and they looked at you and they said, I really don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what I'm being called to be. What advice or what would you say to those folks that are feeling that?
Scott, the first thing I would let them know is that you do have so many people are walking around now. They don't think they have one. They don't think they have a purpose. They don't think they're good enough for God to use. They don't think that God loves them. They don't think that they have anything to offer the kingdom. So the first thing I would let them know is you do have a purpose. God has one for you. And the best way to find out what your purpose is to ask Him. Pray and ask God, what is my purpose? Why am I here? God, what am I on the earth to do? And He will let them know. He will let them know. He'll let them know You do have one. God has a unique purpose just for you. And the other thing, when questioning what your purpose is, I would ask them, what are your passions? What are you passionate about? What excites you? What would you do? What would you do without pay? What would you do even if you weren't paid for it because you love it that much? So I would suggest that they consider what their passions are, what they truly love. And that may be a clue into what their purpose is.
Mm-hmm. And within the church today, I think especially around singles and women and single women,
Yes.
I think there's a lot of challenges when it comes to discovering purpose. What would you say to folks, the Christian single woman that's thinking about their purpose within the church and in the wider world?
I can, as a single Christian woman myself, I can certainly speak to that. And I'll share this a little bit, Scott. A friend of mine was hosting a singles conference, and I never go to singles conferences. I've never really cared for them. But my friend was having one, and so I went to support my friend with hers. And the first speaker got up and she asked a question. She said, what do you do in the meantime while you're waiting for Mr. Right or Ms. Right if you're a man? What do you do? And her answer to the question, Scott, was, you walk in your purpose. In the meantime, while you're waiting, you walk in your purpose. And I think a lot of times as Christian single women, we wonder what place we have in the church, in the 21st century church. A lot of times we wonder what place we have. What I would share with Christian single women is not only in the meantime work in your purpose, serve the purposes of God, but serve people. Serve people. I think a lot of times we think that our purpose is just for us, but that's not true at all. Our purpose is always to serve others. Whatever your purpose might be, whatever that area is, it's not just for you. So have a mind to serve others as you walk out your purpose. It's not about us. It's not about us.
And as part of that, I've heard a lot of times when I talk to people about serving others, mentoring others, working with others, I think a lot of times people will say, I'm not ready yet. I'm not at the point where I can do that yet. I don't know enough. I'm not good enough. Same thing happens in worship when you ask people to step up and read a Bible passage. No, I can't do that. I can't do that. What do you say to those people that feel unprepared to start down that path of serving others?
The first thing I would say to them is that they're not alone, because many of us feel the same way. Many of us feel, I'm not ready. What do I have to say to somebody else? What can I possibly, what I'm learning, Scott, your story matters. Your story, what you've been through, what God has delivered you from, what God has taught you in your adversity. How have you grown? How have you grown? How have you matured? How are you a different person today than you were a year ago, 6 months ago, for example? So I would share with them, if you feel unprepared, so don't make it complicated. Take your story into that space. Take your experiences into that space and share them.
And this you may have just given away some of the next question, but I want to give you a chance to go a little deeper. When people want to invest in others and want to be successful at it, want to see someone else growing or living out, or again, take the worship experience when you're up leading praise and worship and you want people to have that experience and walk away with it. What are some of the ways that folks can successfully invest in others?
I'll start first as a worship leader. One of the things that I believe every worship leader's job is, God bless you, if that was a sneeze or a cough. One thing that I would say is, as a worship leader, I'm always engaging people. I think part of the job of the worship leader is to engage the congregation. And that includes listening. It includes listening. It includes watching to see, be so tuned in to God that you're watching to see what's going on in the congregation. But to answer your question from a general standpoint, I think listening is very important. Listening is very important. Being a mentor to someone, perhaps. Another thing is spending time, because you can't get to know someone if you don't talk to them. You can't get to know someone if you don't spend time with them. And when you do spend the time with them, make sure that you are listening intently. And even if you don't always agree at first on everything, that's okay. You don't have to agree. Just listen. But do just listen. Let them know that you're interested in what they're saying.
You can follow Donna Renee Patrick on Facebook or LinkedIn as Donna Renee Patrick, or find out more about her books and services over on her website at donnareneepatrick.com. That's spelled DonnaRenayPatrick.com. Of course, I'll have links to all of that in the show notes as well. Donna, anything else you'd like to share with the listener?
You know what? I just want to share that stewardship is more. I grew up where stewardship was pretty much all about money and how we handle it. But I've since learned that there's so much more to stewardship than that. So I just want to encourage everybody to expand your thinking, about stewardship, and recognize that everything, literally everything that we have belongs to God. The earth is His. Everything we have in our particular sphere of influence, it all belongs to God. And so I just want to encourage everyone to keep that mindset and understand that whatever we have, even down to our education, our degrees, all the experiences that we've had in life, all of it belongs to God. All of our resources, be they financial, educational, academic, ministerial, all of our resources that are in our grasp, it all belongs to God. And I hope that we'll all be encouraged to remember that.
Thanks so much for listening to the Inspired Stewardship Podcast. As a subscriber and listener, we challenge you to not just sit back and passively listen, but act on what you've heard and find a way to live your calling. If you enjoyed this episode, please do us a favor. Go over to inspiredstewardship.com/iTunes rate, all one word, iTunes rate. It'll take you through how to leave a rating and review and how to make sure you're subscribed to the podcast so that you can get every episode as it comes out in your feed. Until next time, invest your time, your talent, and your treasures. Develop your influence and impact the world.